We all know the Chinese American menu item, stir-fry beef and broccoli. I happen to love it, but I'm really excited because Lan's here and she's come with a much earlier version that features Gai Lan, or Chinese broccoli. Really want to find out more about this recipe, but I know you had a pretty amazing conversation.
I did. I was looking for an expert to talk to learn how to make this dish, and I put out a call to one of my childhood cooking heroes, Martin Yan. I grew up watching Yan Can cook. We chatted, he was super generous, and I can't wait to show you what he taught me. So we're gonna start with the beef, and when you look at the more modern recipes, they're calling for a pound, maybe 12 ounces of flank steak. I'm going back to a more veg-heavy version.
Great.
We're only using 8 ounces of beef here. We're using an 8-ounce center cut filet mignon, and I'm going to start by cutting it into quarters. It's such a soft and tender cut that it's really hard to slice thinly.
Yes.
So we're gonna pop it in the freezer just to firm it up. It'll take about 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
All right, now that the beef is in the freezer, let's prep our Gai Lan.
Okay.
We're gonna start by cutting the leaves from the stalk. And I'm just gonna cut the leaves into 1.5 inch wide pieces. If there are any bits of stem or floret, they'll all go into that same bowl.
Great.
The stalks, I'm going to cut on the bias into 1/4 inch thick pieces. And I like to use kind of a steep angle. I think you just get larger pieces that are more fun to eat. So now we just need to wait for that beef to firm up and then we'll continue. All right, Bridget, it's been 20 minutes. This is nice and firm.
Sure is.
Now I'm gonna set these on one of the cut sides. It doesn't really matter which one. And I'm looking for 1/4 inch thick slices. I've got pretty good knife skills, but I would not try to do this without par freezing the meat.
Right.
Some of these are a little bit wider or narrower than others, but the cook time is really dependent on how thick they are. So we just wanna make sure they're 1/4 inch thick. To marinate this beef, I've got 3 ingredients. It's really simple. I've got a teaspoon of soy sauce, a teaspoon of cornstarch, and a teaspoon of a Chinese rice wine called shaoxing. The 2 liquids are seasoning the beef, and the cornstarch is kind of helping that liquid to cling to the meat. It'll offer some protection when we go to cook this. And it's really just a matter of mixing until everything is well coated. Last up, because it's a stir fry, we have to prep all the other ingredients. Once we start cooking, there is no stopping and running around.
Okay.
I've got 4 teaspoons of vegetable oil here, and I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of grated ginger and 1/4 teaspoon of minced garlic. This oil is gonna flavor the beef later on, and I just wanna have it ready so that we're not waiting on it. Last up is our sauce. It starts with 1/2 cup of chicken broth. To that, I'm adding one of the most important ingredients to beef and broccoli, and that's oyster sauce. I've got 2 tablespoons of it. Next up, I've got 4 teaspoons of shaoxing, so more of that wine. It's kind of a little bit like mirin, not as sweet, a little funkier. 2 teaspoons soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, that's gonna thicken our sauce, and 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil, just for a little pop of flavor.
I love toasted sesame oil. Oh.
Quick whisk, we're ready to cook. All right, Bridget, I've got a 14-inch flat bottom carbon steel wok here. I'll crank the heat to high, and unlike some of the Western recipes we do, where we start with some oil in the pan and we wait for it to smoke or shimmer, when you're working with a traditional wok, there's already a film of oil in there because we're not washing it with a ton of soap and water.
Right.
And so the pan itself will start smoking when it's ready. We don't have to start with any oil. You can actually see some smoke coming up from the wok right now. Let's start.
Okay.
I've got a teaspoon of oil here, and I'm going to add our stalks first. I'm looking for these to get tender, spotty brown, but not soft. I want to keep the food moving in the wok because it's super hot at the bottom and it won't cook evenly if it's just sitting still. Can you smell this?
Absolutely.
What is happening right now is we're generating a little bit of wok hay. It is super important in Cantonese cooking to have that kind of smoky, grilly flavor. And it comes from the cooking method and the wok itself. And the term itself, wok hay, was coined by Grace Young. She was also super generous in sharing her thoughts about this recipe.
So how long for this?
3 to 4 minutes.
Okay. At America's Test Kitchen, recipe development is serious business.
Head over to americastestkitchen.com and unlock 14,000 expert-developed recipes and 8,000 unbiased product reviews, all rigorously tested by our team.
Access every episode of every season of your favorite cooking shows. That's 38 seasons of inspiration.
And with the ATK Members app, you'll have 30 years of expertise at your fingertips, anywhere, anytime. Join us and become a smarter cook.
Start your free all-access trial membership at americastestkitchen.com today. As Lon mentioned, cooking food in a seasoned hot wok imparts the legendary savor of wok hei, which means breath of the wok or spirit of the wok. But what exactly is this complex culinary phenomenon? The fragrance of wok hei can be primarily attributed to numerous flavor compounds that form when oil gets hot. When food containing moisture, like vegetables or noodles, is tossed in a hot wok set over a flame, the water rapidly evaporates, launching tiny particles of oil into the air. As the oil passes through the air over the edge of the wok, it breaks down and can even ignite, forming smoky, metallic, briny, complex aroma compounds that flavor the food. With repeated use, those compounds get embedded in a seasoning layer. Now, the wok itself contains the wok hei flavor, and when that seasoning gets hot, a bit of that flavor transfers to food. The scientific quest to fully understand wok hei is ongoing, but this recipe will ensure that you get a breath of it at home.
How great does that look? I want to get them out of here so they don't keep cooking.
Lovely bit of color there.
Yeah. Now that the stalks are done, let's move on to the leaves. I've got a teaspoon of vegetable oil, and to that I'm adding 1 teaspoon of sesame oil just to flavor it, and a half a teaspoon of minced garlic. Now this is going to go fast. It's only going to take 15 seconds before the garlic is toasty, and I want to keep moving it around.
Oh yeah.
I'm just looking for it to pick up some color and smell good. Now we'll add our leaves. I'm not looking to fully cook this. I'm looking for the leaves to get kind of a dark jade green. This will take about 45 seconds for all of these leaves to wilt down. All right, so this color is looking great. You can see the waxiness has gone away. But to finish cooking it, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of chicken broth. Now what I want is to cook all of that liquid off. I don't want that broth to kind of dilute our sauce and thin it out. So this will take 2 to 3 minutes to kind of dry it out. You can see this is really dry and the leaves have really collapsed down. Now I'm gonna land these on our serving platter. This was another one of those things that Martin mentioned. He said he'd had a couple of versions of this dish where instead of tossing all of the ingredients together, people would make a bed from the leaves and then pour the sauce and the beef on top. And not only does it look great, the dish actually eats better when you do it this way. What happens is the leaves are kind of folded up and scrunched up right now. When we pour the sauce on top, you get the perfect amount of sauce in the leaves. When you toss those leaves in the sauce, they kind of become sponges and they're coated in too much sauce and every bite is a little squidgy.
A little sloppy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last up, we're gonna cook our beef. And I've got that flavoring oil we made earlier with the ginger and garlic. It's just gonna go right in. It'll take about 20 seconds for this to become fragrant because there's a little bit more stuff. And I'm just gonna add our beef and we'll just move this around. It's only gonna take maybe 90 seconds for this to cook. So I really want to move it around and break it up. So we're getting close here. You'll notice that most of the pink is gone and I'm really just looking for all of that pink to go away. That oyster sauce is bringing so much savoriness and it's hard to see in this dark wok, but there's some fond building up in there and that's going to flavor the sauce and that's really what we're after. So this looks great. I'm going to return our stalks to this. Add our sauce.
Yes.
Give it a quick stir to get that cornstarch off the bottom.
Right.
I know it looks kind of soupy right now, but this is enough sauce for the beef and the leaves. So it's gonna look a little soupy here, but it's the right amount. And I just want that cornstarch to thicken. That usually takes just 30 to 60 seconds. You can see how it's already picked up a gloss. It's not as fluid anymore. We're done.
That's it. Ugh.
All right, here we go. So, you ready to eat?
I am so ready to eat. Look at this. This is stunning.
You know what the best part about stir fries is? You have to serve them immediately.
Yes.
Can I serve you?
Please.
Now, I grew up eating this with jasmine rice, and it is kind of my preferred rice for stir fries.
This looks spectacular. I'm going in. Crisp and crunchy, but definitely cooked, not raw. What a great flavor, though.
Yeah.
It's that carbonized, that essence that you were talking about, the wok hay.
It's hard to describe. It
really is.
I spoke to a food historian who said it's like a rainbow. You'll know it when you see it. I love that nutty, sweet flavor of the Gai Lan.
All right, the beef.
Yeah.
This would be the pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. Buttery, tender.
Yeah.
The sauce. It has my favorite sauce in it, the oyster sauce. That's the Wonder sauce.
It somehow makes the beef beefier and the Gai Lan taste sweeter for it. It's a great combo. There's something lovely about going back to this more traditional approach that is more savory. It doesn't have the sweetness of onion or bell pepper. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, change it up a little. It's nice.
Thanks, Lon. This is absolutely perfection.
We have Martin to thank.
Get to stir fry with a little help from your friends. And Lon certainly called upon some of the greats for help with this recipe. And it starts by cutting par-frozen filet mignon into thin slices. Cook the Gai Lan stalks first until browned, and then cook Gai Lan leaves until they're vibrant and green. And of course, it's that beautiful super sauce that holds everything together. So from America's Test Kitchen, a wondrous version of beef and broccoli, it's stir-fried beef and Gai Lan.
We hope you enjoyed this video as much as we enjoyed making it.
Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.
And if you're ready to take your cooking to the next level, head over to americastestkitchen.com and get a free all-access trial membership.
While you're there, you can sign up for our free email newsletters and download our app.
With unlimited access to over 14,000 of our Test Kitchen recipes and 8,000 product reviews, you'll have everything you need to cook and learn.
So I ask, what are you waiting for?
Let's make something great together.